Welcome back to Woodland Pools. Today it's time for the weekly report. So when I was getting everything together to film this week's video, I had a question come in response to one of our overview videos asking, hey, is this an ad? Because it kind of feels like an ad. And I thought it was a totally fair question and timely for a couple of different reasons. So I thought today we'd do things a little bit differently and take a look at 1, how do we handle sponsored content on the channel? 2, what's the tone of the projects that we cover on the channel? 3, any potential conflicts of interest? And 4, how I'm going to manage the channel moving forward. So let's jump in and we'll start with the easiest one, sponsored content. We don't do, nor do I have any intention of ever doing, sponsored content on the Woodland Pools channel. In the past, we've done things where Trezor sent us one of their Trezor Model Ts or a Crypto Steel capsule, but even in those cases, they said, hey, can you just cover this and let us know what you think? And sometimes Cardano projects reach out and say, hey, we have this new release coming out or this new feature, would you mind taking a look? And sometimes just to make it timely, they might give us early access and say, hey, take a look, give us your honest opinion. So we have done things like that in the past, but by far, the large majority of projects that we cover are just ones that I find interesting, that I think have immediate and important impact in the Cardano ecosystem, and I think that you all will find engaging and interesting as well. And the most important takeaway of all of this, whether it's just a project I stumbled across on my own, something somebody suggested, a project that reached out, a project that gives us early access, or someone just sends us something to review, and in all of those cases, there's never any sponsorship, no money ever changes hands, and I'm always very clear and say, hey, look, I'm happy to cover your project, but I'm just gonna give my honest opinion of it and let everybody know what I think. So that's the easy one. We are not and will not be sponsored by any specific projects. But I do think it brought up a valid point on the tone on how we cover these projects. So let's take a look at a clip from that video where the comment was posted from. We can see that we're now up to about 100 World Mobile tokens, so that has come in as expected. So how cool is that? You're able to buy ADA and fund your wallet using the buy function. You're able to buy NFTs and collectibles with their dApp Explorer, and you can swap from ADA to any other token, getting the best price across all DEXs using their swap aggregator. All of these things without even leaving your wallet. Okay, fine, that's fair. I hear it. But then it got me thinking, damn, I wonder if it's the same thing with every project I'm excited about. So as of this filming, CCVault is one of the newest and most exciting light wallets in the Cardano ecosystem, and it's for 3 main reasons. The first is that they natively support multi-pool delegation, which people have been asking for a really long time. The second is that using their Chrome web app, you can interact directly with sites like MuesliSwap, SundaySwap, or your favorite CNFT marketplace. And third, what's brought a lot of attention to it lately, as we see here with the congestion we've been seeing on the network from large NFT drops and all of these new projects launching on the ecosystem, is that CCVault gracefully handles transactions, and you can be sure that when you submit one, it will go through and you won't get the kind of errors that you've been seeing. The kind of project that helps a lot of other projects build up. We saw the transformation of NFT Maker, a fun hobby site that Patrick Tobler put together, transform into NMKR. NFT Maker was a fun way that anybody could come and mint their own NFTs on Cardano without having to know anything about programming or all the metadata required. And NMKR still allows people to do that if we look at their list of products, but they're now well past that. If you still want to mint 1 or 2 NFTs for fun, you can come to the NMKR Playground. If you want to do a whole release of NFTs, you can use the much more powerful NMKR Studio. NMKR Pay is a great way for other projects to be able to integrate with NMKR, and they can handle their own minting of the NFTs without having to worry about any of the complexities of trading ADA back and forth for those assets. But if we come to account 3, look how cool this is. Because of the fact that the wallet is constantly scanning the mempool, account 3 already knows that it's about to have 4.83 ADA coming in, and this is the coolest part. We can now queue up a transaction to send out this balance to our Woodland Pools address. All of this before the transaction even arrived. How cool is that? Over the past year, adaHandle has done a lot of improvements to their site and their minting process, where they now integrate directly with your wallet, and you don't have to do the whole email link verification and all of that. It's a really seamless process now. And looking forward, I'm very excited about their 2 Catalyst proposals that were funded for subhandles and personalizations. And now, if you have World Mobile tokens, when the Earth nodes go live, you'll be able to stake to your preferred Earth node pool. But in the meantime, you can stake them to the World Mobile Token Vault. You just come to worldmobiletoken.com, click on Enter Vault, and then it'll have you create a vault where you can stake your World Mobile tokens, and you can do it with a software or hardware wallet. It's a great way to get passive staking rewards, very similar to how you stake your ADA, and get additional World Mobile tokens while you're waiting for the mainnet. But they had a goal that by the end of the year, they wanted to have at least 225 air nodes live and running in Zanzibar. They were just under the wire and beat that goal with right now 226 air nodes live. All of these dots right here, we can see a live map on WMTscan.com of all of the air nodes that are live and running right now, providing cell phone service in Zanzibar. On a daily basis, there are over 20,000 unique users and over 2 terabytes of data being consumed through their network. Another cool thing that I'm really looking forward to, that this is now the second or third time I've heard them mention, is the idea of lending and borrowing books. Because I mean, it's cool that you can buy a book and if you want, then you can sell it later, but it'd be really nice if you could just lend it to a friend, or you can imagine in a classroom setting where you could have a teacher who virtually lends it out to all of the students for the semester and then can recall all of those books back. The goal, as the team put it, is that everybody should be able to be a bookstore, everybody can be a library. Okay, I get it. It sounds like I'm doing ads for these projects, but in my defense, I'm just really excited and I really like these projects. I've actually had this problem in my personal life before. True story. When I used to go out a lot more, I used to drink this thing called morning recovery to like try and not get hangovers the next morning. And I was such a big fan of it. I would tell everybody about it, Uber drivers, everyone. And on more than one occasion, I had like an Uber driver tell me like, hey dude, are you like working for this company? Do they give you some commission? And I was like, no, I just really like this stuff. It makes me feel good in the morning. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know. If you've ever met me in person, this is just how I talk about things that I'm excited about. Sorry. But all joking aside, I do want to address two specific things that seem like they might be a conflict of interest, and I want to make sure we're on the same page moving forward. The first I announced last week. I'm very honored and excited to have been chosen by the Cardano Foundation to be an official Cardano ambassador. And to be clear about how this role works, with direct guidance from the Cardano Foundation, they deliberately make a point to have no influence on what we say or how we express ourselves. And the idea there is, hey, you're a big fan of Cardano, you're educating and informing people in the community, keep doing that, and let us just recognize that and give you a title for it. So not only do I have no plans to change anything about how I cover Cardano, the Cardano Foundation, or IOG, there's also no incentive to do so. They very clearly say just keep doing what you're doing. But the other one that I announced just a couple of days ago that I am so freaking excited to say, I've been asked to join the Book.io team as a full stack engineer and working on helping to build the future of books. And let's be clear about how this whole thing came about. About 7 months ago, I watched Cardano 360 like many of you did, and I put out a video saying, hey, this new project seems really cool. Some of you might remember that video where I said, hey, check out this project called Book.io. This seems really interesting. I kept following them very closely and they quickly became my favorite project on Cardano. For those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of real-world utility and things that blockchain can do to solve problems today. And for me, Book.io checked all the right boxes, and for a long time, I was thinking to myself, how can I get involved in this project? If I couldn't get involved, I was going to keep covering them anyway because I love what they were doing, but when they opened up applications for that position, I applied and I was fortunate enough to get it. But now with that, similar to the concern about the Cardano ambassador position, I want to address the potential conflict of interest there and also what I plan on doing with the channel moving forward. The short answer is I really don't see any problems, and I'm just going to kind of keep doing the same thing that we've been doing. All the information that I cover is all publicly available, and what I try and do is take this huge amount of information that there is, narrow down my focus to the top projects that I think have a really good potential of making a high impact, and then distilling that information into videos every week to keep everybody informed. My plan is to continue doing that, and both for information coming from the Cardano Foundation as well as for Book.io. The only things I'm going to be covering on the channel are things that are publicly available, which is what I've been doing the whole time anyway. But then the other question is, well, okay, for both the Cardano ambassador position as well as the job at Book, does that maybe mean that you're going to take a little bit easier on them or not cover certain aspects? And for that, I'd say take a look at the very deliberate tone of the over 150 videos that have been published on Woodland Pools over the past 2 years, and you'll see that it's really not my style to negatively go after projects anyway. I personally feel like there's so much exciting stuff going on that there is plenty of positive content to cover, and so I usually just focus on that. For any of these different projects, it's very hard to launch a new project. It's even harder when it's a bleeding edge technology, and it's even harder than that when that bleeding edge technology is in an entirely new paradigm like smart contracts and blockchain. I'm a big believer in giving a benefit of the doubt. None of this stuff should ever be intended as financial advice. I just get really excited about what's going on in Cardano, and I like sharing that excitement and those updates with you. If that seems good to you, then let's continue moving forward and continue growing together. And on that note, this Thursday, February 9th, Woodland Pools turns 2 years old. So to mark the occasion, I thought it would be fun if we did another Cardano Q&A live stream. So this week's weekly report will be live on Thursday, February 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Come hang out, ask any questions you have about Cardano, or just come and say hi. We'd love to see you. Thank you to everyone for your support over the past 2 years. I really hope you can make it out on Thursday, and if nothing else, we'll see you next week.